Hey, community, welcome back. We are back with part 2 of the Mental Fitness Matters show. I am back with LATICE Crawford, recording artist, certified life coach, and the founder of Whole Life. And we have just really kicked it off with learning a little bit more about her journey, her path, how she's handled some of the biggest mental and emotional challenges in her life, and being really intentional about setting boundaries for herself, her mental health, her space, and her message. And so we are back for part 2. We're going to talk a little bit more about what mental fitness means to her, her business, Whole Life, and how she's empowering herself and others to live a whole life. LATICE, welcome back to the show, lady. How you doing?
Oh, good. Thank you for having me again.
Yes. Let's go ahead and kick it off with part 2. Let's just pick up where we left off. You were just kind of talking through the importance of putting yourself on the calendar, scheduling time out for yourself, setting boundaries, and not apologizing for doing so. That sounds
Yeah.
like a wonderful mental health practice that we can all take advantage of. Speak a little
It
bit
takes a
more.
lot to get to that place. I think we're all naturally somewhat trained, as kids to be there and to show up for people. A lot of people equate love to like, how much can you sacrifice of yourself for me? And if
Yeah.
you can't, then you don't love me. I don't know if it stems from us, seeing our mothers break their backs for us or whatever
Yeah.
it is, but I needed to like really, like I said, redo that recipe and understand that I can't expect other people to show up for me all the time. And I also don't, have to be obligated to show up for them either. We were talking during the break and I was just like, I'm not your life coach if I'm not your life coach.
I
Like,
love it. I
I'm your
love it.
friend and I'm here for you, but I can't do it.
Yeah. And I love that because it really is, it does get difficult in our relationships, in our families, in our communities to have a clarity on that balance. There's a boundary that has to be set, or if not, but we become everything. We become the life coach to friends and family and the therapist to this one and that one in the community. But I love that. I'm not your life coach unless I'm your life coach.
Yeah,
Plain and
I can
simple.
teach you.
Yeah.
I got a charge.
Yeah. Well, I love to ask this question of all my guests. I'm curious, when you think about mental fitness, what does that mean to you? And in what ways do you practice mental fitness for yourself?
Mental fitness for me, I think it's pretty, clear, just kind of the working out of your mind and whatever that is. It's kind of like how everyone has their own different exercise routine, that fits them, or their own meal plan or whatever it is. I think that's what it is. I think it's unique to each person, and just how you are present with yourself, with your thoughts, with your feelings, and just with your time and your space. For me, I will say that one, I am very quick to isolate. Like, I'm a self-doer. I'm a self-sufficient person. For the most part, I can figure things out on my own. And so I know for myself, I isolate. But I knew that was not healthy for me. You should have a village. You should have people. And so I had to really, really, really stretch myself, to make sure that I had a village around me of people that I knew that I could talk to and trust and different things like that. Because like I said, because of my profession and everything else, it gets sticky sometimes telling people private things because you just never know if you're going to hear it or they're going to repeat it. But
Right.
I had to accept, like, this is my real life, and I have problems too, and I have things that happened, and if it gets out, it gets out. It's okay. But creating that village. But one thing that was extremely important for me in my mental fitness was being present with exactly where I am right now. Like, I can accept
Mm.
it, but I don't have to settle for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm okay if today I can't get out of my bed. And that used to be hard for me. Like, oh no, I gotta kick myself out of this mood. But when
Mm-hmm.
I was doing that, I was like going over and surpassing the feeling. So I wasn't really processing that because I was just ignoring that to just do what I had to do and functioning, and surviving. I wasn't living. And so by me changing that method and saying, if I can't get out of my bed today, that's okay. I have a reason, for that.
Yeah.
But I can work and be productive from here. And so it kind of became this model for me of like, don't worry about what you don't have or what you lost. What can you do with what you have left? So if the
Mm.
bed is all you have today, get your laptop, work from there. If you know what I mean, if you got to cry all day, you can cry and
Yeah.
type. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to stop your day because you're being present in where you are and how you feel. Accept it, but you don't have to settle for it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you just segued us right into your company, Whole Life, where you're really intentional about empowering women to walk in their power, walk in their voice. And like you're just talking about, it's okay to not be okay. It's just not okay to stay there, you know. And I love how you said if you're going to cry all day, cry in bed with your laptop. You know, there's some things that you can do. So talk to us about Whole Life. You talked to us on the first part one, how it came to life, but tell us a little bit more about Whole Life.
One whole life came the same year my mom passed. Like I said, it was never supposed to be what it is.
Hmm.
It really wasn't. I had went and got all these certifications and stuff a few years before for myself because I like to learn. I like information. And so I wanted to understand my own thoughts, why I was thinking them, and how I could change them. And so I started out with the cognitive behavioral therapy stuff, and then I went into the neurolinguistic programming because I wanted to see how can I change my thought, how can I shift it, and where do these thoughts stem from? If I can figure out the why and the what, then I can figure out how to get somewhere else. And so I was doing it because of that. And then in 2020, it was even before I was seeing this whole shifting of whatever, the springtime was coming in, and I saw a butterfly.
Hmm.
And I was looking at this butterfly like, wow, it doesn't start this way. It starts out as this thing that if it was on you, you'd be flinging that thing. Well, I know I would because I don't like bugs and little crawlers, but you'd be flinging it because it looks ugly, right?
Yeah.
But the caterpillar is okay with being what it is because it knows that it's not its final destination. And like I
Hmm.
was saying about the acceptance versus the settling, sometimes we look at where we are in that moment and we think, oh, there's nothing else for me. There's no more. And it's like, no, all of these things are a part of a whole life. Your whole life journey. Don't take one moment and make it your whole life
Yeah.
because it's just a moment. And so, I had this dream of this building years ago, this big white building. It was on this big campus, and this campus had everything in it that a person could possibly need. And I went outside because I was trying to figure out whose building is this. And I went outside and I looked on it, and it said my name, and it had the sign Whole Life on it. This was probably 10, 15 years ago. And I
Wow.
told my mom about it, and I said, it looked like a church. And I said, but I'm not gonna be no pastor, and I'm certainly not about to be no pastor's wife. That ain't gonna happen. Again, Lord, don't give it to me, Jesus. Take it away. Let me stop saying I don't want it because then he's gonna give it to me. It's okay, Jesus. It's all right, I'll take it. But so I told her about it and everything. So when this started happening, like I said, somebody had asked me, they wanted to get services, and I was like, I don't really do this professionally. And they said, what's the name of your company? And I was like, Whole Life. Literally, that's how it happened. And it
Wow.
was like, oh, I didn't even remember that 15 years ago. So this, like I said, where I started,
Yeah.
was in the caterpillar stage in the making, just thinking about this was for me,
Yes.
to help me. And it turned into this butterfly. And so that's the process of whole life. It's taking the good, the bad, the ugly, and turning it into something beautiful. That butterfly is still the caterpillar. It just took
Yes.
what it had left and made itself into something new. And so that's what I try to do with my clients, take them through that process, of just because this is where you are today, it does not mean that this has to be where you are later on or where you're going. What can we do with this,
Yeah.
with what you have?
I love that. That is so beautiful. And so many things that we need to take with that because you're exactly right. Just because this is not your entire life. This is a part of your life, which is going to be part of your whole life. And how would you say that so as a life coach, tell us a little bit more about what life coaching is, what it looks like. People who are looking for support and services, how do they come to you? How do they know that they need you?
I think one, they have to really get to a place where they get so tired of where they are, that they want to do something different. I think people think life coaching is like a venting session, and it's really not. I am a journey partner with you to help you organize your life. There's things you may not be able to change. Like I said, what do you do with it? You know what I mean? Because you may not be able to change that. Like if you have children, you can't just erase them today. You know what I mean? They may be a part of your struggle or your bills or different things. You may not get this great job, tomorrow. But how can we take what you have and figure out a method in it that helps you process it better? Where did that stem from? A lot of my clients, they have a lot of issues with relationships. They have a lot of issues with finances. Where does that stem from?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you spend? I think you and I were talking one day and I was telling you how I used to go and spend so much money in a grocery store.
Yeah.
And when I started on my healing journey, I really sat back and identified where that stemmed from. When I was a kid, food was a currency in my house. The more we had of it, the more my father felt that he was successful and a good father because he was deprived of it when he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we take that time, sometimes we just go back and look, and that's what a life coach does. Like I said, we're a journey partner. It's not a venting session. You are a part of the healing process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so you have to be a part of it. It's not just for you to dump it on me and then for me to figure it out. Again, we sit and we create a recipe,
Absolutely.
Of these are the steps that you follow, from day to day. I give you new tools to fix old traumas.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think as you're saying it just like that, new tools to fix old traumas, because we all have them. We all have something that needs to be addressed, that we have gone through life, turned a blind eye, kept moving, did it just because my uncle did it, my cousin did it, everybody else did it, so I'm going to do it too. And so having a place in a space that you can go and kind of discover, sounds like a lot of discovery happening there. Why am I doing what I'm doing? How are the things that I'm doing impacting my behaviors and my emotions and things that follow? And so having a partner, a journey partner in that, it's life-changing. What kinds of things have you seen so far, just from the clients that you've worked with, anybody that you, or people that you're thinking about, how's that impacted them on a larger scale or just in their day-to-day life, having a life coach?
It's empowered them to be able to make decisions that don't only make them feel good, but help them to be well. I put up a post the other day and just was saying that at some point you have to decide that. Like, do you just want to keep doing things to maintain a good feeling, or do you want to be well? Because being well is very different than just feeling good. It's like when you're trying to get your body well, you have to make sacrifices in your diet. You have to change certain things about your lifestyle. And it's the same thing, when you are trying to be well and whole, emotionally and mentally, you have to be willing to make certain sacrifices in order to, get to a better place. And, the clients who are ready to do that, I think once they see some of the benefit of it, it's not easy. I use a lot of metaphors, and I always tell them about a chair that I have in my house. My dining room chairs, actually. They're great chairs, really nice, wood, solid chairs. But every now and again, I have to rescrew the screws, because you sit down and then the legs are a little wobbly. Now I could throw it out and get new chairs, but I might have that same problem. Again, what do I do with what I have? It's just a matter of tightening the screws. And so, just reminding them that this is not a fix all. You're going to still be wobbly sometimes, but now you have the tools. All I got to go do is, grab the little wrench and tighten up the screws again, and then the chairs are perfectly fine. And so giving them those tools helps them to to utilize them in those moments when they may have reacted a certain way in the past that wasn't beneficial to them. Now they have the tool to say, wait, all I got to do is just grab this wrench and screw this in. I know how to deal with this now. Like I said, it just gives you those tools for everyday life, for you to know how to solve the problem for that day or that moment or whatever. And I think it continues to remind you again that it's moments and not this whole thing.
Yeah. Taking it in bites, step by step. And I like that too, because as we think about this space in mental health, a lot of times on the side and things that we do from a clinical mental health perspective, life coaching perspective, sometimes it is hard to get people to, unless there's a crisis, right, to get people to say, you know what, I could benefit from having somebody to talk to. I could benefit from having a place and a space to allow somebody to go on this journey with me and break some things down so they're not so heavy to hold. And so I think having conversations like this, understanding more about what life coaching is, how that process works, really kind of helps remove that stigma around getting support in our lives. Because just like in everything that we do, whether you're working out physically, a lot of times if you're going inside of a gym or you're trying to get working towards extra goals, you're going to have a trainer working alongside of you in that process. And we want to start to normalize mental health, emotional health, spiritual health in the same way. It's okay to link with experts, to coaches, certified professionals to help you along in your journey, so that you can have the whole life and you can feel well and be everything that we're called to be. In your world of advocacy, what do you see? What are the barriers and challenges that might still be there that you might run into on a daily basis? What are you seeing from your world in terms of just being a mental health and emotional health advocate? What are some of our biggest challenges?
especially in our community, what I see a lot of is trust, trust issues where, we were taught, as Black people and Black women especially,
Mm-hmm.
what happens in this house stays in this house. You just don't tell anybody.
Yep.
That's how we were told. We grew up in secrecy. So whatever was going on, you just kept it there. You had to be strong. A part of us, you know, kind of when we were younger, being told to be strong was to be quiet, don't tell, don't say anything, keep it to yourself. And so I see a lot of that, in our community, and specifically with Black women, where it's like, I don't want to talk to anybody because I don't want it to seem like I'm weak.
Yep.
And I have to remind them, like, you have teachers and trainers and bosses and help in every other aspect in life. Even if you can't, watch your child for that day because you have to go to work, you get a sitter. Why is it not okay for you to get assistance, for your mental and emotional health? You have to go somewhere and talk to someone to kind of help you in that space. Another thing that I see is really the financial barriers, especially when it's alternative. Like, I can't accept insurance, and so a lot of my ability to help people and my services come from, either my own funding or, funding from another, entity, because I don't charge a very high price for my services because I want to make sure that I'm accommodating the community that I feel needs it, the most, which is our community. Not to, say anything. I'm just more so saying that we need options that are not readily available, to some other communities. And so I wanted to make sure that mine was, and I also see time. Like I said, because our calendars are so full all day. We have so much to do when we get home from work. Sometimes some of us have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 jobs. And so I wanted to make my service accessible and do it all virtual so that people, if it's like, look, all you need is an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One time per week to sit and talk. And if the kids have to come in, when I was going to counseling, I had to take my son because I was a single mother, and that's just what it was. And, that's what we had to do. And I put him in a corner and he played with his little toys while I got what I needed, because there was no way that I was going to ever let him or anything that came along with me be a burden or feel like a burden, on me where I couldn't get what I needed. And so those are some of the struggles that I see. And so that's why I think that these kind of platforms are so important, where people have access to information, to help, to someone to walk beside them virtually, where they can listen while they're washing dishes or listen in the car on their way to work.
I love that. And you're right. I agree with those three: trust, time, access, and financial, because making these types of things accessible. And thank you for what you're doing, creating a space and a platform that people can access you, people can connect with you and have an option to get support and help. Because it is difficult. In certain communities, there is limitations on what we have access to. And so I hope as we're listening to this and as you're hearing this, that we know that there's options out there. There's options out there where you can have somebody to connect with, have somebody to talk to, and not have to walk alone in this journey. With the stress rate and the suicide and the depression things going up, we want to make sure that we're having conversations that may not be the funnest of conversations to have. They may be challenging, difficult, but like LATICE just described, that caterpillar starts from a place and then evolves into something more beautiful and fulfilled. And that's what we want for our communities to have. If somebody is trying and thinking about getting their whole life, right, and they want to be able to kind of connect with you and learn more about what you're doing, what would that process start like? How do they begin that process with you?
One, be ready to be held accountable. Part of my strategy in life coaching, like I said, is to remove everyone else. Around the middle maybe of my coaching sessions, I'm always asking them, do you want to be a murderer, or are you ready to do some amputation? Because we can kill off everybody else in our lives and keep ruining relationships and walking away from everybody and calling everybody toxic. But even when you do that, most of the time you're still not happy. And that's because you're not dealing with you. You're dealing with everybody else and getting them out, but not realizing your own participation in the toxicity. And why you keep choosing these type of people, you know what I mean, to be in your space. There's a reason. A lot of the times for me, the type of people that I was picking, it was because of the things I couldn't save my father from or fix within him. And so I became almost like this white knight of like trying to save everybody else. And so I constantly had broken people around me. Not that that's a bad thing, but just realizing those people can't reciprocate. They can't, and especially if they're not willing to go lay on somebody's couch before they come to mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't, there's nothing that I can do there, and I'm always going to feel empty. So a person, if they want to come to whole life, they have to be willing to be held accountable and understand this journey is about them. It's not about everybody else. It's about them and figuring out how to get them to a better place. Secondly, then they would reach out to me at whole life coaching lc@gmail.com, and we do a free consultation just to kind of get down to the bottom of what it is they want to work on and what their first kind of goal is. We work kind of in segments. So I do a 6-week program with them. And then after that, we kind of talk through that and then set up the sessions. Sessions are 1 time a week, and I give an assignment and a check-in, a half an hour check-in per week. And, that's, voluntarily if they want to do that, just to kind of see if they need assistance with anything. And the process, like I said, it's a beautiful process of, just having someone to walk beside you and, having someone to lean on, you know what I mean? And know that, like I said, unlike a friend who may not be able to have answers for you, I'm trained to have answers for you. And so sometimes that's a little bit more relieving, than talking to someone and they just like, I don't know, girl, I can't say I don't know. You're paying me not to say I don't know.
That's right. That's perfect. That's perfect. So make sure if you are looking for additional supports or just having a journey partner to kind of uncover some things, that she's available, and she's open and ready to serve. And
I do want to say that each course is tailor-made to each one of my clients. I do not go from any kind of just random, preset course or anything. Everything is tailored to that person and their specific goal.
That's huge. That's huge. And for anybody who may be kind of like, I think I might want to try this, or I think I might need that, what's one tip or one thing that you would say if somebody's on the fence about starting this journey of really taking care and making themselves a priority? Anything that you might say to them of the reason why mental training, mental fitness, life coaching matters? Why should they take this next step?
I think anytime you're thinking about something and you keep wrestling with it, then usually you need it. Yeah. You wouldn't be feeling like that or feeling like, do I need it? Should I take it? If there wasn't something there, and so I say explore that. My consultations are very, very thorough. I can't speak for anyone else, but my consultations are very thorough. And I think that with most of my clients, what has kind of sold them on, okay, you know what, I need this. It's just from that consultation. That's why I give the consultation for free, for the person to kind of see what that journey would look like. And, I like for people to get to know my spirit and my energy, because sometimes energy just don't connect. Even if I have a great one, sometimes, it just doesn't connect. And I'm very honest, if I cannot service a person. So I think, I definitely feel like that. Just try it. It's no harm in seeing if it will work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you can keep going and buying these clothes and these shoes that you can't afford, and you talk yourself into that, your mental and emotional health matters. And that should be the most thing that you spend your greatest amount of money on, because it changes the trajectory of everything else around you.
A whole word and a whole life with LATICE Crawford. I can't thank you enough just for your spirit, your energy, your purpose, and just your time. It's just been awesome. And I know this is going to help so many people out there. And I cannot wait to link up and see the work that we're doing together, as this is just a space that needs so much support and so much attention. So thank you really for using your time and your platform to shed light on mental health, emotional health. And we got about 40 seconds left. And I want you to give out your information one more time. Any last things that you want to say to our community?
Are you ready to get your life? Your whole life? Whole Life has something for that. Let's do this, y'all. Reach out to me at wholelifecoachinglc@gmail.com. And if you're looking for me on social media, you can find me at LATICE Crawford. All things LATICE Crawford. You can't look for Latrice. She's cool, but she ain't me. LATICE Crawford.
Thank you so much, sis. I love you. I want my community to go out and shine bright like the stars that we are. Make yourself a priority and get your whole life. See you guys next week. Thank you for joining us today on Mental Fitness Matters. Tune in every Thursday at 8:30 a.m. to 9 a.m. for more tips, tools, strategies, and solutions that will help you reach your peak mental fitness. My name is Tracy Austin, and you've been listening to Mental Fitness Matters.